It was supposed to be the perfect weekend getaway. A group of scouts, eager for adventure, and their trusty troop leader ready to guide them. The island was secluded, a small speck of land tucked away in the middle of nowhere. Just the tree, the sea, and the boys. We were all set for 3 days of camping, hiking, and bonding. No distractions or no worries. We set up camp as the sun began to set, the sky turning that beautiful shade of purple. The boys gathered around the fire, cracking jokes and talking about school, about girls, anything but the wilderness around us. I remember thinking how peaceful it all was. No cars, no noise, just the occasional bird call and the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. By nightfall, everyone was settled into their sleeping bags. The fire, a dim glow in the distance. I thought we were in for a quiet night, but then, just before I turned in for the night, we heard something. A cough, a horrible, wheezing cough from the edge of the camp. At first, we thought it was an animal, some wild creature that had wandered too close, but it wasn't. It was a man. We thought he was lost, just some unfortunate soul who had found his way to the wrong side of the island. So I grabbed the flashlight and went to check. The boys didn't think much of it, just some guy who needed help. But the moment I saw him, I knew something was wrong. He was pale, skin like paper, his eyes wide and wild, as though he hadn't slept in days. His clothes were torn, and he was shaking uncontrollably. His breath was labored, rasping in and out like he was fighting for every breath he was taking. As he approached closer, he whispered, "Please, get off the island. You don't belong here. You're not safe." We tried to talk to him, but he didn't make any sense. His words were like a warning, desperate and frantic. And in the back of my mind, I felt something stir, something deep and instinctual that told me we should have left, but we didn't. Instead, we took him back to camp, hoping to get him some help. But that was the first mistake. The next morning, that's when it all started to unravel. When the boys and I woke up, we found him gone. The fire was cold, and the area around his spot was eerily still. At first, we didn't think much of it. He was probably just wandering again, confused, maybe even looking for food. But then, I found something disturbing. Blood, dark and fresh, splattered on the dirt near the edge of our camp. I called the boys together. My heart was racing. That's when I noticed something else. One of the boys, Tommy, wasn't acting right. His skin was pale, his breathing shallow. He said he was fine, but I could see it in his eyes. His pupils were dilated, his hands were shaking. Something was happening to him. And then, it began. We tried to stay calm. We thought maybe it was just the stress of us being out there in the wilderness. But Tommy wasn't the only one who started to change. Soon, the other boys began to show signs. Nausea, dizziness, feverish sweats. By midday, one of them, Alex, collapsed. And that's when we realized this wasn't some ordinary flu or some sickness. This wasn't anything we could treat. This was something worse, beyond our understanding. I tried to keep it together, tried to focus on getting them back to the boat. But as the afternoon sun sank lower, the situation only worsened. The forest, the island itself, it felt wrong. The trees seemed to close in on us, the air thick with a suffocating tension. There was a noise in the woods, scraping, shuffling footsteps, but nothing ever came into view. The boys' behavior got stranger too. They weren't themselves anymore. They looked at me with hunger in their eyes. Not the hunger for food, no. It was something darker, more primal, like something had taken hold of them. By nightfall, I knew we weren't alone anymore. Something had infected them. Something from the island. Something ancient. And it wasn't just a sickness. It was them. The change wasn't just physical. They were different. Terrifying. And I couldn't tell what was worse. The fact that I was losing control of the situation, or that I was slowly starting to lose control of myself. I thought maybe if I could make it to the boat, I could get off this island. But it was too late. They had already surrounded me. They weren't boys anymore. They weren't the people I knew. There was something else, something twisted, Everything went dark. And then I woke up. I was the last one left.